What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for Sports. I thought I would go ahead and switch up, do something a little different in this video. And of course, Magic Johnson has been in the news recently. He has his own uh, series coming out, our own documentary. I think it's called I Am Magic. And a lot of us have been enjoying the recently completed 10-part HBO docuseries Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. Not totally based in fact, uh, and some fact, but there's a lot of cinematic license taking place within this series. But I enjoyed it. Um, so look, we all have our opinions about who the greatest player of all time is. I assume that most people who follow me on this platform and on Too Raw for TV would go with Michael Jordan. And until recently, I would say Jordan was the greatest. I recently have switched my allegiance to Wilt. That was the guy I used to think was the greatest up until high school. Um, but I've reassessed some things, and I think it's very close. And to be honest with you, if the person thinks it's Kareem, I don't have a problem with it. I don't think it's LeBron James, but when everything is said and done, his record of accomplishments are going to be so great that I could see an argument for it if you're talking about resume, like longevity. But as a basketball player overall, when you look at his game, uh, all the facets, I don't think he's the greatest. I tell you one thing: Magic Johnson still to this day believes that the greatest player he ever played against was Larry Joe Bird. And he played against so many great players. He played against Dr. J. He played against Michael Jordan, of course, in the second half of his career. He played against Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley and Isaiah Thomas, Olajuwon Drexler, Stockton, Malone, some other older school players, George Iceman. He played against Skywalker, David Thompson, some forgotten players. They're not on that level, but Purvis Short, uh, Mark Aguirre, Adrian Dantley, Alex English. So many great players, Rolando Blackman. So many great players that was in the 1980s. I could just keep going on and on. You know what I'm saying? Uh, some of the unsung, John Williamson, recently passed away. But Bird was the man, according to Magic. All right. And I put a link to this article in the pinned comment in the comment section below. I know a lot of you guys are getting ready for this game one. Um, but Magic said in a recent interview, we came in at the same time. We didn't care about how many points we scored. We just cared about winning. We both had a knack for making our teammates better. And we loved the big moment and trying to excel. When the pressure was on, and I tell you, Larry Bird is still the greatest I've ever played against. He was so super smart, and his will to win was off the charts. We kind of just grew up together. He ends up in Boston, who the Lakers hate, and Boston hates the Lakers. And I end up on LA. It was on from there. It was great drama, great games, and it lived up to all the hype. Yeah, man. I mean, they carried the NBA in the 1980s and lifted to new heights. Uh, to me, Dr. J, he kept the league together after the merger. He kept it afloat, but it was Larry Bird and Magic Johnson that saved the NBA. And when David Stern took over as commissioner from Lawrence O'Brien, his strategies, his vision, pushed the NBA to new heights. He saw the game as being global. As we see today, his vision, no matter all the faults of David Stern, uh, still the NBA owes a debt of gratitude to Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and yes, Michael pushed it to new levels. But these are the guys these two saved the league. And by the way, I think you could tell by this photo, right? Even though Magic is listed at 6'9", that was his height and shoes. Um, Barefoot Magic was somewhere around 6'7" and a half. Okay, 6'7" and a half. When he put on shoes, is about 6'8" and a half. They rounded him up to 6'9". Bird was a legitimate 6'9" and a half barefoot. When he put on shoes, he was 6'10" and a half. You could clearly see when they stood by each other, Bird was about 2 inches taller, and you can see it here. Um, I just wanted to push that to people who keep making it seem like um, Kevin Durant is such a rarity. Bird was essentially a power forward who played small forward. And that's what made Boston so great is that they had a traditional power forward in Kevin McHale, who was a low post monster, and they had a guy who was essentially a power forward playing small forward because his game was suited for the small forward position. Larry Bird, a face-up player, mid-range, um, you know, had a post game, uh, you know. But anyway, salute to them.